Hello, welcome back to this next video on fund development. I'm David Schreier. You may download the resource for this video by clicking on the link that was emailed to you by Felician Services. In our first video, we looked at the core elements of a fund development program, from annual fund to special events, major gifts, corporate and foundation giving, all the way up to planned giving. In today's video, we're going to look at the role of board members as fund development ambassadors for your organization so that they can clarify and maximize their role on your behalf. There are 5 key points I'd like to cover today. The first is to think about ambassadorship, not fund development. If you're a board member, donors naturally want to meet you. There's a particular kind of genuine, authentic experience of being a board member that donors realize. You're not a paid spokesperson. There's a sense that they'd like to feel your passion and understand your commitment to the organization. CEOs and administrators play a key role in supporting board members. They can be the catalyst to help fund development blossom, from providing logistical support to board members to helping foster relationships between board and staff, or to help with scheduling of breakfasts or lunches. CEOs and administrators can also team with board members, going on donor visits and calls. In terms of motivating board members to become more involved in fund development, historically there's always some kind of hesitation or reluctance about asking people for money, but we're focusing on board members as ambassadors, and there can be great delight and fun in getting into relationships with donors. So please don't stress and worry about fundraising from individuals. We're thinking about how can we invite people to join us in our mission? How can we have them become part of the transformational change that we know we're so good at by asking them to be our partners? There are certain main duties for an ambassador. First, be present. Go to your ministry's programs and events and let the staff get to see you and let the general community get to know you. So be visible. Let people understand that you're a board member for your ministry and wear that pride and let people experience that from you. And be supportive. Your CEO or administrator will need support, staff will need support around fund development, and you can be that encouraging voice for them. It's also important to become involved, to understand the issues affecting your ministry, whether it's education or homelessness or hunger. With respect to fund development, it's important to be willing to listen to donors and ask questions and get to know them and foster those relationships. In your handouts, there's an ambassador checklist which you can use as a handy resource to help you strengthen your role as an ambassador. The second point is to identify the particular fund development activities each board member is comfortable doing and then letting them do it. We know some board members are much more comfortable out front getting involved in donor visits and meetings, and other board members may be more comfortable behind the scenes, writing thank you notes or making thank you calls. The point is not to try to have every board member engage in fund development in exactly the same way. We want people to be comfortable doing what they enjoy doing. So for some, it may be hosting a Sunday brunch at their home. For others, it may be making special donor phone calls. CEOs and administrators, you can play a particular role by sitting down with each of your board member ambassadors at the start of the year and talking with them about how they'd like to become involved in fund development. Then it's going to be a much more enjoyable and exciting experience for all. The third key point is that personal commitment leads to successful fund development. So that begins with making our own financial gift to our ministry. Nothing deflates a donor faster than understanding that not all board members have made a gift to their ministry. Yes, we're giving our time as board leaders, but it also makes a difference to make a financial gift. In fact, some foundations actually ask if there's 100% giving from a board. And really it makes it awkward if we're going to be asking other people to make a gift. If we haven't made our own gift, we won't feel right. We know something will just be a little off. It's also important that we give our time doing the direct service of our particular ministry. So maybe that's after school reading for kids or passing out food to hungry people who come to our food pantry. But the point is to get close to our mission in a very salient and palpable way so that we can tell our stories to donors based on our own feelings, our own experiences. One organization I know asked its board members to provide free rides to homebound seniors who the organization serves so that board members would have a particular experience in their car hearing the stories and talking to these individuals. And finally, it's important that we're able to tell our ministry's story. We need to be able to answer for any donor, well, why should I care about your ministry? So through our stories, through our experiences, we can convey our own passion and excitement and commitment in a way that builds confidence with people who we would like to have become donors. The next key point is that a successful fund development program raises awareness and creates engagement. So if we think back to the donor pyramid we looked at in video 1, starting at the base, the annual fund, there are things board members can do to strengthen how we acquire new donors. We can email our friends and colleagues and coworkers and share the good work of our ministry with a wider audience. We can forward through Facebook, through LinkedIn, through Twitter, all the good news coming out of our ministry. Making friendly reminder calls is also part of the annual fund. We can call to thank donors, to invite them to upcoming events, but the point is to have that personal connection. And if we do this consistently over time, more and more, there will be a cumulative effect of trust and appreciation. As we move up the donor pyramid, the middle section focuses on events, and we can host our own mini events as board members. We can have Sunday brunches where we invite the CEO or administrator to talk about our ministry, or we can do that at an after-work gathering. But the point is to create some synergy and some interaction with our donor constituents. Moving further up the donor pyramid, we come to corporate giving, and we can get our own companies involved and our own employees, or we can establish relationships with area businesses by creating opportunities for gifts to be made, for employees to serve as volunteers, and for a deeper connection. Even with foundation giving, there's an opportunity for board members to play a part. You can sign a cover letter to a proposal that's going to be submitted. You can attend with the CEO or administrator a meeting at the foundation offices and talk about your particular reason for getting involved with the ministry, or of course leading site visits when foundations send representatives out to see the good work you're doing. And then finally, at the top of the donor pyramid in the area of plan giving, there's an opportunity for board members to have that relationship not only with individuals but with their families, where there's a legacy of trust and confidence being established for years to come. The final key point is to establish proactive relationships with donors. As we just discussed, there's great value in sending emails and making thank you calls and forwarding Facebook updates or LinkedIn or Twitter updates. But now we need to take things to the next level. And it's important that we feel a personal, meaningful relationship with as many of our key donors as possible. Developing donor relationships is a year-round activity, and so we want to build in consistency and familiarity over time, and that will deepen trust and raise the confidence of our donors. We want to think beyond a donor's last gift and actually think 10 years into the future. Will they still be with us? Will there be a long-term trusting relationship that we can depend on and that will grow further in time? All in all, there are 5 key roles for board members to play in fund development. The first is to advocate about the work of your ministry. The second is to endorse your ministry among your sphere of influence. The third is to connect to potential funders and share your ministry's case for support. The fourth is to ask others to support the vision and work of your ministry. And then finally, the fifth is for you to give your time and money to support your ministry's efforts. I'm looking forward to seeing you on February 4th at 10 a.m. Central Time, when we will hold a 1-hour Q&A session, which you can access by clicking on the WebEx meeting link that was sent to you in the video to announcement email. And this Q&A session will be an opportunity to raise questions. It'll be an open forum to share experiences so we can learn from our peers and go a little bit more in depth to the content that we covered in the first 2 videos. I will be sending out some reflective questions to you for food for thought for our Q&A session. Here are just a couple just to get you started. The first is, how does your ministry currently engage board members in the fund development process? And the second is, how would you like to see your fund development program change in the next year? Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. Video 3 is on how to identify and cultivate individual donors. Individuals represent the largest category of charitable support in this country, and we'll focus on effective ways to identify prospective donors and how to put into place effective cultivation steps to deepen ties to our ministry.